first number. First number up is 12.
I hate myself.
I'm always so nervous. Okay, I'm Brittany Taylor. My number was 12, and the topic was wonder. Okay, anyway. So the idea with this is to compile kind of like archived photos from my past and also some videos, and to put a voiceover basically with what I wrote out. And I just want to keep, there's a challenge for you guys after I finish with this. So. Without further ado, let me go to my notes real quick. It's kind of long-ish, so bear with me. I woke up early on the morning of May 16th, a little anxious, curious, and excited about the strenuous hike we were about to embark on. I have done this many times before, but this time I had a mission. I wanted to accept the challenge of looking deeper into wonder. Wonder. What is that word, wonder? By definition, it is generally related to astonishment, curiosity, and awe. Easy, right? Not really. There are so many things I could have focused on, but for me, it was sharing a message that mattered and that others could take home with them. Not an easy task, to say the least, but it was something I was determined to do. So here we are, walking along the trail, deeper and deeper into the unknown. Well, for a lot of us at least. I started to pay attention to the landscape, animals, and noises around me. These are all things I have focused on before while on hikes. Things I love, cherish, and hold dear to my heart. But nothing seemed to spark that fire inside me. As I'm walking, it clicks that yes, I'm tired. My body hurts, but I'm also here enjoying the beauty and the conversations and people around me. I'm laughing and smiling and feel completely free in this moment. While the journey can be gruesome sometimes, I never ever regret it. Towards the end, as we all know, it was hard, challenging, and it hurt like hell. But you finally get to the end, and it's rewarding, not only physically, but also for the soul. I'm alone at this point, as everyone is kind of dispersed, and I'm doing that last stretch along the cliff sides back to the car, and that area has become more populated. A Doppler effect of voices while people pass by. I'm picking up bits and pieces of people's conversation. A boy she liked, a huge group listening to a tour guide about wingspan of a bird. Another group of people from overseas jumping and trying to capture that exact moment in time. And all of these conversations are all different languages. Where are they from? What led them here? This was it, the thing I've always wondered while traveling myself. What started it all? What was that exact moment in time you fell in love with nature? When did you start caring? I'm asking all these questions, so it's only fair that I tell you my journey. I remember when I started dipping my toes into the scene in college. I remember begging my dad to go to study on a study abroad trip to Costa Rica. It was a 1-week trip where the main focus was environmental studies. We did all those touristy things, of course, but the most memorable moment from that trip was a night walk through the rainforest, seeing the nocturnal animals come to life. After that trip, I kept begging my dad to go on all these study abroads. I went to Costa Rica a second time and spent a month studying residential tourism and rip currents. I think my most memorable moment was watching 3 wild macaws fly above my head in Jaco, and seeing a wild toucan out the window of the Soltis Center that A&M owns. My last hurrah in college, I went over to Australia and New Zealand to study ecotourism and sustainability. While over there, we were hiking a trail along Mount Cook to Hooker Lake. On the way back, I really had to go to the bathroom, so I went ahead of the group and found myself alone. I stopped for a moment and found myself in tears, just appreciating the moment. A world so silent, but the vastness of the mountains around me making me feel so small. After that, my travels kind of dwindled, but that spark was still inside of me. I had just graduated college and started my adult life when I get a call from Jay, asking to go to Big Bend to shoot some BTS photos for an independent short film which was meant to show off the landscape. I remember hiking up Lost Mine Trail, about 45 minutes to block out some scenes. I was in jeans and tennis shoes, totally unprepared. At this point, I had never really hiked, other than one in New Zealand. We get back to camp. Mind you, I had never camped before in my life. I was raised in the luxuries of an RV and RV camps that were along the beach. Anyways, the temperature started dropping drastically, and it was windy as hell. I had the most uncomfortable night of my life. Despite all of that, I felt something inside of me change. I don't know what it was about this particular trip that lit the fire, but it did. After that, I found myself camping in Italy, France, Switzerland, traveling Banff, Olympic, Mount Rainier, White Sands, Carlsbad, Glacier, Big Bend multiple times. The love for nature just kept getting stronger and stronger with every trip. Then I get here with Wild Creative, where I meet like-minded people who have the same fire, curiosity, and passion that I do. But how do we get that passion and fire to the whole world? How do we make people care? How do we, as creatives, spread the wonder and awe? I've thought about this for so long, and at first, I thought, you can't. People have to wander out in nature and experience it for themselves. But now, I think maybe just sharing where our love came from, where that fire first ignited, could help lead someone into that same curiosity I had in college. I mean, it led me here. So I want to challenge all of you guys to share your spark and where your wonder first started. It could be with a family, a friend, or social media. Who knows, maybe it will lead someone down this path that we all have been on. A sort of chain reaction. I mean, we can't change the world all at once, but we can, one heart at a time.
That was incredible. So good.
And that's
That's
it.
very good. That was really good, Brittany. I had no idea that was your first time camping. She told me that.
Okay, are you ready for the next number?
Yeah.
Me, number 10. Okay, call my notes. So my name is Stephanie. I'm number 10, which is Patterns in Nature. So my approach to this project centers using landscape photography as the creative interpretation of Bryce Canyon's repeating patterns, while the written reflections explore the naturalist perspective behind each scene. Rather than photographing Bryce Canyon solely for its grandeur, I want to focus on the smaller systems and details that collectively shape the landscape over time. Each photograph will become evidence of an ongoing process: erosion, weathering, seasonal change, ecological succession, and adaptation, revealing that Bryce Canyon is not static, but constantly evolving. So obviously we'll be seeing these photos later because I have to edit them, but keep just each scene in mind as I describe them. A snowy sunrise atop the amphitheater reveals one of the many seasonal patterns responsible for sculpting the hoodoos. Frost settles into fractures overnight, and as temperatures fluctuate, expanding ice slowly breaks apart the rock through freeze-thaw weathering. The warm morning light against snow-covered formations visually contrasts destruction and beauty, showing how winter contributes to the canyon's continual transformation. My astrophotography explores patterns beyond the canyon itself. Constellations stretch across Bryce Canyon's dark skies, connecting the landscape to a larger natural system. The preservation of darkness not only allows us to witness the interstellar patterns above, but also plays a critical role in wildlife migration, nocturnal behavior, and ecosystem balance. Beneath the stars, the hoodoos feel temporary against the scale of the universe, reminding viewers of both time and interconnectedness. Photographs of deceased trees speak to the cyclical nature of life within the forest ecosystem. Wildfires, drought, insects, and decay may initially appear destructive, yet these processes contribute to regeneration and biodiversity. Dead trees become habitat, nutrients, and eventually soil, continuing their role within the environment long after their life has ended. Their textures, fractures, and weathered surfaces visually mirror the walls surrounding them. Storms and rainbows moving across the plateaus reveal weather as an active artist within Bryce Canyon. Rainfall carves channels into the rock, while wind and water slowly shape each hoodoo into unique forms. No formation erodes the same way twice, creating endless variations in texture, color, and structure. The brief appearance of a rainbow against the storm becomes symbolic of the delicate balance between erosion and renewal. And finally, photographs of sand dunes and sediment represent both the history and future of the hoodoos. Every grain of sand once belonged to a larger rock formation, broken down through millions of years of weathering. These dunes become physical evidence of the hoodoo's life cycle, remnants of the past actively contributing to the future of geological formations. In this way, the landscape continuously recycles itself, telling a story of persistence, transition, and time. Through this combination of imagery and naturalist interpretation, I hope to show that the grandeur of Bryce Canyon is built from countless small patterns and processes working together. The landscape becomes more than scenery. It becomes a living record of rhythm, resilience, and change.
Very nice. I like how you brought the sky into that too. That's good.
Are we ready for the next number? Number 8.
Oh, that was Jen.
Number 5.
That's me. My name's Paul, and I got sedimentary deposits is the naturalistic take on it, and the main prompt, kind of sediments and imagining the prehistoric lake that was here that helped form Bryce Canyon. And the biggest thing that really caught my eye is, and this goes back for a long time, I've always been fascinated with Bryce Canyon. I don't know why, I mean, there's no rhyme, rhythm, or reason to it, but I feel like it's been something that has always been calling me, and I wasn't quite sure why that was. And then as I descended into the canyon and observed the layers as we went down, and just, you know, even the subtle sediment changes that happen between, you know, literally feet of our vision, you know, that represents this span of millions and millions of years in this evolution of the planet. And it really ties into something that I write a lot about in my poetry, is how we're all connected to the earth and how everything is, you know, I think Carl Sagan, you know, once said, we're all stardust. And I'm kind of using that as some inspiration in imagining the sea and the things that have lived in it, all the sediments of the planet. You know, I was at the visitor center and just really looking at the history. And even when this was Pangea, it was still, you know, it kind of formed into a lake and was at first kind of this inland sea. And part of the prompt was to imagine that inland sea. And I didn't get the chance to see any specific, like, fossilized anything. But I'm kind of taking the approach in my poem that I'm going to write, and I'm going to inlay it with some time lapses as well. But the main thing there is just really kind of, I want to encapsulate that sense of that time passing. I'm sticking with the time lapse theme here. And we got some great ones with, you know, mainly of those layers and really the sediments that have formed. And I think I'm going to write like a little.
Wow.
Oh, you're kidding. I think I'm going to write a little bit of like a sequence of poems that dive into each of the sediments layers and kind of personify them as different time frames. So that's kind of what I was working out during this visit, and just really observing the details of each sediment layer, and really the randomness of it all, because it's just there's a pattern, but then it's all random, so it's really interesting. So that's kind of the project I took from it, is kind of building that little chapbook and covering some of that. I think digitally I'm going to bring that to life with some of those time lapses as well. And yeah, that was beautiful. I think the most memorable experience with Bryce Canyon is just being able to be down on the floor of the canyon, and how that ties in not just the sedimentary layers, but how that sediment works with the rest of, as y'all touched on before, with just the other geological processes that make that happen, is really fascinating. So I'm really looking forward to diving into that and getting some really great inspiration from this trip. So this is just a little bit of what I plan on using in my chapbook. Old bones of dead things, human and pre-human, amorphous, fluid that once lingered in the land. How is it such life now shines in the blink of the constant clock, orbital and always turning, past in stone, layer by layer, age by age, each its unique shade, made moving by the presence of light. So that's just a little bit of what I wrote during the trip, and I think I'm going to use some inspiration of that to really kind of build that chapbook out. So just wanted to include that. I found it. I wanted to include it real quick.
Very nice.
I love how the next number is 9.
Okay, so I'm Ashley Lovell, and my number was number 9, which is scale. And so I'm a plein air painter, and so I painted this little painting of Bryce Canyon. And it just kind of features like the magnificence of like the rocks, and then like in this little corner there's a bunch of little hikers hiking through the path. And I think that it was such an amazing experience, even though it was super windy. It was super interesting to kind of like reflect on how big like the rocks were compared to us, and kind of comparing that to like how our lives and like our impact is on the world, both for better and for worse. And during like the video that we watched over the weekend, I loved how it talked about how all of the rangers were working really hard to preserve the beauty of Bryce Canyon, and yeah, so
Very well.
I know. I missed that detail before.
We'll be doing an auction for that.
Right. Okay, the next number is 5.
Yeah, that was me, I think.
Oh, we already did 5, sorry. 15? Did I already say 15?
Oh, that's me.
Oh.
Yay!
Okay, pues mine's not as cool as yours, okay?
Stop
It's
it,
really
stop
small,
it.
Really short. But I did take a picture.
Wait, you guys say your name and number.
Yeah,
Oh,
Slate.
yes,
Slate.
yes. I'm Stephanie, and I got number 15. And it's big versus small. Right?
Mhm.
Okay. Ay, qué nervios. Okay. Okay, so I don't know which one's better. I guess I'll just show this picture.
Mm.
Oh. So this is a flower called the Colorado Blue Columbine, and it's a wildflower found throughout Bryce Canyon National Park. It plays an important ecological role by supporting pollinators such as bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, while also thriving in rocky, nutrient-poor environments. I'm so nervous, guys.
You're
You're
doing
doing great.
doing great.
So yeah, they just grow in really harsh environments, as we experienced this weekend. So it's just a gentle reminder that everything in this world has a purpose, just like us, even if we're small or we're mighty. So it's just a reminder to just thrive even in the harshest of environments, and everyone serves a purpose. So.
I like how
That's
you have the
amazing.
canyon
Yeah,
in the
the
background.
Yeah, the hoodoo.
As
Which was
big.
pretty
And then,
That one or this
yeah.
one?
That
like
was
it.
Great.
Yeah.
what was that wall called again? Something of the gods?
Temple
Temple of the
gods.
gods. I think that's the Temple of the gods. So that's it.
Very good.
Wow.
Wow.
Next number is 8.
8 was Jen.
Okay, sorry. This doesn't, 13.
Let's see. Okay, my name is Jordan. My number was 13. The topic was flora. Flora is a very vital part of the ecosystem in Bryce Canyon. There are several varieties of plants, trees, and flowers that thrive in this area. For example, the Indian rice grass, which happens to be the state grass of Utah, provides seeds that are rich in calories for birds that live here in the park. The greenleaf manzanita is a common food source for deer, turkey, and elk here. It also provides shelter from the elements to the smaller animals such as chipmunks, ground squirrels, and reptiles. These plants rely partly on fire and cold conditions to germinate, which I thought was very fascinating. Their seeds can actually remain dormant for hundreds of years. Another very interesting type of flora in Bryce is the bristlecone pine. These trees are famous for being the oldest known non-colonial organisms on Earth, with some living near 5,000 years. Yeah. They provide food for birds and small mammals in the park. Another really interesting flora is the Bryce Canyon paintbrush, found only in the park region. It's a semi-parasitic, producing only part of the food it needs through its own photosynthesis. The rest of its nutritional needs it acquires from other plants by penetrating the host of plant roots with its own. And I just think it's very fascinating just seeing all of this, and it's impressive to see the flora in this place that's very unique to this area, and also very interesting how much fire, because you would think of that as a negative thing per se, but how much fire actually plays a very big vital role in the ability for these plants to thrive and perform that way that they can meet the needs of the rest of the ecosystem in this area. So that's it.
Thanks.
Next number is 6.
Hold on.
Okay.
So I made this little collage, but I didn't edit
What
any
name and topic?
photos. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hi, I'm Cindy, and my topic was weathering and erosion, and my number is 6. And I made a collage. I didn't edit any photos, so it's a little rough draft, but I just grouped them by topic. And then Stephanie has another photo too. And so, because I had weathering and erosion, I started with talking about frost wedging, and I aligned the first column, the third column, and the fifth column together, and then the second, the fourth, and the sixth, and then the seventh is for fun. So the first one shows the freeze, and so when the water gets in the cracks, it freezes and expands fans, which we heard about, which is frost wedging, and then you can see the windows that are created. So I captured a few of those windows. And then the hoodoos that are created. And I have a lot of notes on these things. And then I also did a second set, which the second column shows like the change in the sediments. So over time it wears away, whether it has iron or not in it. Obviously we know that the top is limestone, that's a white color, and then the orange has the iron in it. And because of the weathering, it erodes away the orange and it leaves the white at the top, so that creates that beautiful color. Oh, there's nothing on my phone, I'm sorry. And then I have the roots of the trees as the soil erodes away. And then I have the roots to show the change. And then I just showed us having fun and enjoying the park for what it is. I have Brittany in her suit. I have Ashley painting, and I have us hiking. So just like a reminder to enjoy it. Every day here is different. You can take a different photograph every single day that you're here, paint a different painting. And just to embrace it, even as it's changing. I know changes creates fear, but I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's all part of evolution. And although we should try to slow it down as much as possible, I think just enjoying the change. Beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who has my phone? Sorry. I need to generate more numbers. 14.
No, it's me again.
Are you ready?
I'll go. I mean, I'm not totally done, but we'll go with what I have. So should I start over?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Laura, and I got number 14, and I got fauna. So my thought was thinking about like when we saw the ground squirrel yesterday. Every time I feel like I go, especially in this area, animals in the national parks, when I go into the national parks, the wild animals tend to come to the people because they're so used to getting fed. People think it's cute to feed the wild animals, so they're not scared of us when really they should be living separate from us. So I thought about that. Of course, as I got really close to the ground squirrel, I was taking a video of it. I would put that in. I want to create like a video or something, obviously, to post this on social media. So just something that I was kind of writing about it. There's something so beautiful about watching wild animals exist in the wild. The way a single bird catches the wind and flies through the air, the way deer graze the earth as they walk through the trees. Existing in the wild alongside us as we camp, as we explore, enjoying the wild nature they call home. The way a squirrel builds its nest for the new babies that will arrive soon. The way Mother Nature simply knows to create a home, a safe place for something new. Nature has a way of existing so beautifully and so naturally without us, yet here we are in it. We get to share this space with them. A connection we form with the animals, the landscape, the nature they call home, we also call home. We want to form a connection, yet our gentle connection is often harmful. We offer food, we get too close, we step in their space. Feeding wildlife tends to change something invisible at first. Instincts can change, patterns will shift. We try to make wildlife pause long enough for us to feel a part of its world. We think we are helping, we think we are being harmless. But wild things were never meant to depend on us. The natural rhythm they were born with slowly changes toward relying on people instead of the wilderness that raised them. If we truly love animals, maybe love should look a little less like interference and more like respect. Respect for their home, respect for their silent boundaries. What feels cute for a moment can become harmful over time. The greatest gift we can give wild animals that we love is the chance to stay wild, to let nature continue its ancient ways without us interrupting it. Not everything beautiful needs to be touched to be appreciated. Humans don't always need to step in, yet we do. Some things are loved the best from a distance. Let the wild stay wild. Together we can still share this space. We can create, we can enjoy, we can soak it in, we can exist so beautifully together. Let wild, stay creative.
Oof.
Ooh.
That's it.
Oh.
And then I was
Yeah,
like,
Wow. I love it. That was really good.
Next number is 3.
That might have been Brayden if that was the
Oh,
stars.
Brayden.
Oh,
yeah.
The
yeah.
night sky,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2.
With me. Okay, cool. I'm Kristen. Mine was bristlecone pines, number 2, and I made a video and I have not yet watched it. But it surely is. I've watched versions of it. Okay. Okay. And thanks to Laura for suggesting this editing app. And so hopefully it's it. Okay.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. Okay.
We were talking about that first, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, hopefully it's turned up all the way. Your shoelaces can help you understand why this tree is 1,600 years old. This is a bristlecone pine, and the Latin name means long-lived pine. This is the longest-lived type of non-clonal tree in the world. This is a great type of tree to study because tree rings show climate patterns that go back as long as the tree is lived, and therefore a long-lived tree has a lot of climate patterns to look at. What does that have to do with shoelaces? Well, your DNA is like a string that has caps at the end, like a shoelace. Those are your telomeres. One study found that this type of tree actually has advanced telomerase activity, meaning that their telomeres, or the caps on the end of their DNA strings, are stronger than others. But once the caps, which DNA is your telomeres, are gone, then your shoelace starts to break, and so does your DNA. You can see this at Bryce National Park, which I saw last Canadian. They might do another meetup next year, so check it out if you want to see these super long-lived trees.
I don't know why did you do that?
I love that. She was
Right
like
over
filming
there.
that
Yeah,
while
they
we were
did.
on this last hike. Yeah.
That's right, yeah. And I did
Yeah.
a couple, that one.
I love how y'all just
Yeah,
really
yeah.
got paintings.
Gotta spin it around.
That's what I did
Like,
about
yeah,
it.
just quickly paint.
And that one, yeah.
Wow.
Love. Oh,
That's amazing.
Cool.
Applause. Applause. Incredible.
The next number is 9.
I already went.
Okay.
It's gonna have a lot.
We already had 3. 14. We already
That's
said.
me again.
Okay.
Maybe raise your hand.
5.
So my name's Michael. You guys have heard me talk about this all weekend, but I got the number 7, the Bryce Canyon ecosystem.
That's awesome.
I think the biggest thing that I've learned this weekend is how little I know about this place and the beauty of it. Many people here have already touched on this, but there are so many different pieces that bring this beautiful place together. And at first I thought, and I heard and I read, it had to be this perfect thing. You know, maybe one event caused all of this. But in reality, it's just over time. Multiple things happening, all at maybe the right time. I think that can be important for what I'll lead into at the end here. But as some of you talked about, it starts with geology. It starts with water. It's an ancient inland sea or lake that brought the sediment that even made these hoodoos here possible. That draws so many crowds of people and then just a variety of wildlife as well. This morning, as we had an absolutely epic sunset point, Brittany and I walked down to Door's Hammer to get a little bit better view. We noticed a stellar jay. And of course, I make the joke every time I get my bird lens out, a bird appears, or vice versa. But as I watched the stellar jay, he wasn't picking around in the trees. He was actually looking at the rocks. And we watched it hop up this trail and just looking into each tiny little crevice, each little fracture of the sandstone. And I'm assuming it was looking for food. That's something that I had never seen before. And I thought it was just incredible. Something so small in that particular moment. And then I tried to zoom out. Because with this subject, the ecosystem, it's a lot of different topics all wound into one. And so going back to it, like I said, it starts with geology. It continues with erosion. And so take past aside, currently this plateau is still eroding, and it'll erode at 2 to 4 feet every 100 years. And so some of these beautiful trees that have been photographed or researched or written poems about may be gone in just a few hundred years. You know, some of those trees hanging on the very edge. And I think that's something that shows us how much time it takes to build something this incredible, and how short of a time it can take to destroy something. And that's where I wanted to bring in the human piece to all of this. So part of the prompt was, everything is connected, but how can we find that ecologic and human relationship as well? And looking back to it, the first people that laid eyes on this place, the Native Americans, the Southern Paiutes, were afraid of it. There was fear because of maybe the awe of this place, but there was also respect. And I do find that, you know, looking for congruencies with Anglo-Saxon folks who want to explore and conquer and do all these things, but in doing so, combined with homesteaders, we're able to also see the awe and the beauty of this place. And that was enough for someone to say, this needs to stay protected. And that is what brings crowds and crowds of people every single year. And so it's a double-edged sword, because we get all those people. How many people have we seen on this trip in their own zone? They're cruising the lookouts, they're flying by in their cars. They're not paying attention to the little things. And all of those little things add up over so much time to create such a beautiful, beautiful place. And that's where that human piece, I find that we are stewardesses and stewards, and we have this responsibility with this amazing group of people that I just discovered last fall. And I can tell you that I respect and love each and every one of you. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional, but because of how much everybody cares. Everybody cares about the small things. You know, it's not just about taking photographs or writing. It's about, I think, not just discovering ourselves, but as we notice why things happen, we notice these small things, we are then able to communicate that with people that may never take the time to do that. And I think that's where we can all make such a big difference. And that's the human aspect I wanted to touch on. I had a whole bunch written about the different eco zones. So we would talk about the ecosystem, that was a little more theological. But what's so special about this place is the different life zones. We learned about it a lot yesterday. So what plants and animals, mainly plants, are in these different zones. And what I'm going to do with my medium is photography, and I do a little bit of writing, not nearly as talented as many of you, but what I plan to do is post different photos from this weekend. But they're going to be, some people might think that, oh, this is a summer photo, or this is a winter photo. And so I'm going to play a little game and say, can you guess when this photo was taken? Just to show the diversity and the, I talk about all those things that happened all at once. This truly is a Goldilocks zone, because it's all about geology. It's all about time. It's all about weather. It's all about location. It is all about different species, how they interact with each other, but I think the biggest impact is how humans will interact with it. As we saw today, people touching those bristlecone pines, which, fun fact that I'll share on that later eventually. Humans can either be destructive, or we can come together and make a difference. And I think that's where I think we can play the biggest role in this ecosystem, is to also let it alone and protect it. And we can all do our own part. So I also want to thank each and every one of you, and thank you so much to Jay for letting me host here in my home state. And, yeah, thanks guys.
I was not sure I could
My name is Chrissy Potter, and I was number 11, and my topic was layers. And I just drew pictures just as a little visual aid, but I'm going to, this is kind of like a, what's the word, like a template for a carousel that I'm going to make on Instagram. But anyways, Bryce Canyon is an ever-changing landscape that never forgets. Pieces of time are encapsulated within the layers of sediment. Oxidized iron paints the landscape in vibrant pinks, reds, and oranges. White limestone trails down hoodoos, dissolved by rain. A gray dolomite layer protects some hoodoos from further erosion. This is just kind of explaining how the sediment layers form. It's very rough, obviously, but Lake Claron is what laid the foundation for Bryce Canyon to become what it is today. When water dried and refilled, layers of different sediments were deposited. And obviously it happens like over and over and over millions of years. After water level drops, it leaves ridges against the face of the plateau, and also uncovers past layers of sediment. When it refills, dead organisms in the right conditions are fossilized with the new layer of sediment. It's like fish and snails. And then this will show like the next layer after the water refills and drains again. Bryce Canyon is in the perfect spot for the rock formations we see here today. Even while we have been here, we have experienced even a tiny bit of how harsh the environment is. We can go from having 4 layers of clothing in the morning due to near freezing temperatures to 1 layer during the day when temperatures soar into the 80s to 90s. Although Lake Claron is gone, Bryce Canyon continues to change. There is so much history hidden within the layers that we are yet to uncover, which is only one of the many reasons we need to protect it. And while I was kind of looking for layers in the rocks, I kind of started looking at trees, and I noticed they also have layers. And then I was like, well, if trees have layers, like we have layers too. And like the more that you think about it, it's like everyone has layers, and I guess unlike Bryce Canyon, you can decide what you want to show the world.
Ooh, that's true. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Sounds good. Yeah.
There's a mic drops in it.
Makes me the last one. So I'm Kat, and my number was number 4, and it was about the pinyon and juniper forests. And when I first saw this hobby, at first, I assumed like maybe I'd be seeing it all around here. Maybe we'd end up talking about it or going to go see it at some point. And I realized as we were going through all the different things and seeing all the major viewpoints and everything like that, they were astounding and amazing and memorable and just absolutely magnificent. But when I came back and, was thinking about this and wondering to myself, the pinyon and juniper forest, like, what is that? Wasn't really talked about. And so I was just like, well, what am I going to be doing for this prompt? I want to be able to showcase this, maybe take some photos, take some videos of it. And so when I started actively looking for it, that's when it started, and it's still starting to, come together for me. And I'd like to say, just as an aside, but it's still, still relevant to this, is that I feel like Wild Creative is kind of a mixture of education and reflection. And I think we're all, kind of in in the practice of, you know, taking everything that you learn from this experience and then reflecting on that and finding a way to understand that and use our creativity to explore that. And so coming back to this, you know, and coming back to camp and almost kind of feeling a little defeated, you know, I just started going back to, you know, what I knew. Well, let me go ahead and start researching this a little bit. Let me go out there and find some information about this thing that I don't know much about, you know? And I think it is worth saying that the pinyon juniper forest, yes, it is, you know, technically prevalent in one of the distinct habitat zones within this area, but it's actually prevalent in a lot of areas. Not only here in Bryce Canyon, but all over the Southwest. So some of the few things that I learned in the short amount of time that we've been here is that it's actually all around us. I mean, it covers 9 million acres throughout the Southwest. Not only here, but Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and other states. These forests aren't your typical forests of grand pines and things like that, but, you know, small, slow-growing shrubs. And you see them on your way to the parks. You see them on the way to all these monuments and things, but you never really take notice of them. But they've provided so much to the local indigenous people, to the wildlife. They quietly exist while sustaining all of this life in such an arid and seemingly lifeless place, which I thought was pretty profound. You know, over the weekend, you know, I've gotten a little bit of tidbits from the visitor center and from what I could read from the trails, and it was saying that it was a source of food. The pine nuts from the pinyon trees, you know, provide food for both, you know, the pinyon jay and for the indigenous people here. They've also been used as firewood or building material. And from a broader perspective, you know, they've also helped stabilize the soil. You know, they've created these islands of fertility around them just by being there. You know, from the root systems to providing shade, to the life that needed it. You know, and so I'm still in the process of this reflection, and I think it's something that I'll be working with and kind of looking through the photos and the videos and everything that I've taken from this weekend. But I definitely have seen, you know, just from my observations from this weekend of the things that I was able to see from them, is that they truly are a symbol of survival in a harsh environment. You know, in a world that's otherwise rock and sand, they do provide a break in that. And they do provide a little bit of life and a little bit of greenery in there. So we'll see where we go from there.
Can I read one more thing?
Of course.
When we did the Tetons, when we left the Tetons, I wrote something and I wanted to share it with the Teton crew, and I never did. But it really relates to everybody, and then it kind of relates to a little bit of what Michael was saying. I wrote it after we left the Tetons, but just also in thought of, I've traveled with many other friends in different places, and everybody travels differently and everybody likes different things. And so this is kind of just something that I wrote, just kind of thinking about the trip in the Tetons and the people with Wild Creative. So many people these days seem to travel just to find the perfect selfie or Instagram photo, traveling for content, constantly chasing the next post-worthy moment, searching for an image of themselves they hope will earn approval online. But it's a hollow chase, it's a temporary high. The image they seek is one that brings isn't one that brings peace. It often leaves them feeling empty, already craving what's next. They pull up, they snap the photo in all angles and move on, rarely pausing to truly soak in the masterpiece of nature before them, rushing from place to place in search of the next perfect backdrop for the next popular photo. But to me, it's so much more than that. I'm thankful to have the opportunity to travel with people who show up in nature differently, those who crave the calm that it brings, who step into the landscape and let their hearts slow down, who stand in quiet awe, saying everything without words. I'm thankful for people who deeply appreciate the land beneath our feet and the wildlife that shares it with us, yet we still reach for our cameras, not to prove we were there, but to capture a feeling. To try and show the world a glimpse through our eyes in hopes they too can possibly feel the beauty that we see in full glory in front of us. We sit patiently, sometimes for hours, just to watch a wild animal move through its world. Not just to see them, but to honor them. To be still, to breathe it all in, and to feel at home among them. Sometimes I find myself in places where I don't quite belong, surrounded by people who see life differently, who don't feel it all so deeply. But then there are moments with souls who create a space for those to appreciate altogether. People who put other differences aside to come together for their love of nature, because nature feels at home. Gatherings with those who walk outside and instantly feel at home. People who are moved to tears watching a bear and her cubs wander through the field, or fall silent when a bull elk's call echoes through the mountains. Wild Creative creates that space, and in that space, I feel at home. That's it. 10. No, I'm just kidding. 7.
Whoa! Claim your prize, well-deserved, man.
Yeah. Trying to build us towards guys.
Yeah, go ahead, open it. See, you're gonna have to actually model it. That was part of the deal.
I don't know. Last time I did that.
Yeah.
What now?
Wow. There it is. Nice. Put you a few lenses in there, sling it around, you know.
Oh, it's got the Grand Tetons, I think. Yeah. The front. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a Teton. Oh my gosh, it's signed by Jay.
Spoiler alert.
That's not good.
Feels like Christmas moon.
Literally feels like it. It's cold.
It's cold. There's snow.
This is so awesome.
You could put a badge for each Wild Creative location on there.
Oh. You guys know how terrible of a model I am, so I'm just sitting here awkwardly.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Hold on, the fisherman in me.
Feel like we're gonna get a lot more bags.
We all come up with the next one.
I've never even seen clips like that.
Yeah, they're pretty. It's pretty cool little beans.
Oh, nice.
A bag inside a bag.
Bag inside a bag.
Oh, I love bags.
I love
With
bags,
compartments.
bags,
in there.
and zippers.
Maybe an astro lens coming.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And in there, by the way, Nikon 20mm 1.8.
Well, does anyone have anything else to say while we're here?
Babe, that's, I gotta do another
Oh, you want to do it? Oh, yeah. Kristen's
Jay,
got.
thank you for this.
Oh, you bet. Yeah, I'll tell.
Okay.
Tammy.
Number 12.
was
Okay,
12.
cool. It's a just as good prize. Yeah. Okay. Who knows what it is?
Whoa!
What is that?
Coyote.
Oh, a coyote.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Was that
How,
up here?
how appropriate is that for where we are?
That is really cool.
But I found it in Kansas, actually.
You found this in Kansas?
Yeah.
This is
Nice.
neat.
And like 5 more at the same time, but yeah.
That is really cool.